Welcome to the world of data definition language or DML, a fundamental part of SQL that focuses on defining and managing the structure of the database. Now, what is DDL? So, think of DDL as the architect of your database. It helps you create, modify, and delete database objects such as tables and schemas. Remember, DDL commands don't deal with the actual data stored in the tables. It's all about the structure. Now, let's explore the most commonly used DDL commands. The first is create command, right? Now, as a name that create. So this command is used to create new databases like objects like table, right? So for example, if you want to create a table for employee data, we use, so what's the syntax? So basically the syntax is create table, then you have to give the table name which you want, then you have to give that column name and their data type. Now for example, if you want to create a table for employee dataset, and in that employee table there is employee id which is a integer like suppose 1 2 3 4, this is the employee id, and 1 2 3 4, these are the integer, right? So you have to mention that employee id first, the column name that is employee id, then beside that there is data type. Suppose employee id is integer, and then what is primary key? Let's coming into the next slide, what is primary, foreign, and unique key. But before that, we focus on the create command, right? Then there is name. So if your name is like my name is Vidisha, so is and your name is some kind so this is variable character, right? So varchar is variable character. It means that you have to take the computer is take that character, we assign 50, but if your name is short, so it suppose your name is Ram or something, and my name is Vidisha, so it takes Ram for your and Vidisha for mine, right? So this kind of thing that you have to mention first column name, then column data types. So that's the syntax of create command, right? Now it defines the table structure with columns like employee ID, name, then age. Age is also integer, right? Suppose 21, 22, age, this kind of, this is integer. Now salary. So salary is a float value. So I hope you know about the data types, and if you don't know, so leave a comment that we don't know the data type, then I make a separate video on the data type also, that what is the in data type, what is float, and what is varchar, what is char, what is string, this kind of thing. Okay, so please leave a comment on the comment section that make a video on data type, then I will make a separate video on data type also. Okay, now for practice this command, we'll go for mysql workbench, right? But before that, let's talking about one more two commands, then we'll go for create some this kind of command in the mysql workbench, like the tutorial, right? So now coming to alter command. The alter command lets I modify an existing table structure, right? So this modify, the what kind of modification it does? So it can add, it can delete, it can modify columns, right? So let's talking about this syntax. Let's give an example. So basically, suppose in the previous slide we take the example of employees table, right? And there is the if you remember, there's column is employee id, there is name, there is age, there is salary. Now if you want to add a department column on it, so how can you add that column? So basically using the alter command, we take alter table, then table name. So our table name is employee, then want to add department, so basically add, then department, and its data type which is variable character, right? Now if you want to a column drop, so basically suppose you want to, there is a table name that is employee, and you want to drop column the age column. Okay, so you don't take that age column, so you have to write it alter table, then table name, then drop column, and then there is age. Now here we want to column the drop the column department, so we written here department. But if you want to any kind of column you want to drop, you just put that name. Okay, that whether you are dropping the column age, whether you are dropping the column salary, it's your choice. Okay, so that's the alter command, right? Now next is drop command. So basically, when you use drop column, what is the purpose of it? When you no longer need a table or any database object, you can use the drop command. Okay, so that's the purpose. Now what is the syntax? Is basically drop table then table name. So whenever we get the tutorial in MySQL Workbench, there is a database. So in database there is various table. Okay, so suppose let's create a database. Okay, so go for that MySQL Workbench. They will okay, so basically, and if you don't have that MySQL Workbench, there is various video in YouTube. Just put up your MySQL Workbench. You have to go for Google and search MySQL Workbench and simply download it and execute it. And there is some kind of root and password. You have to save your password. Okay, and there is a small very video, many various video in YouTube. So just simply search that how to install MySQL Workbench and install it. Okay, I don't want to waste any more time, so let's get started, right? So basically what you have done here, first suppose you have to create a database. So create database, right? This kind of database, and suppose you want to create a database like student. Okay, so create database student, this, and then some there is a semicolon which indicates that okay, we just simply complete the line. And how can you execute? Just select this line, and this line just execute the selected portion. Okay, and see here, here's the action output, which is there is a green tick. That means we have executed this command. And now if you saw, there is nothing schemas like student, but if you refresh, there is a student. See, there is a student, right? So our database student created. So that's how you create a database. Now in database, how can you use a database? How can computer know that yes, we want to currently we want to use that student database? So basically just simply write use database, right? Use database then student. Okay, and then also a semicolon. Now simply, sorry, here's not database, this database is mentioned, so use student. Okay, so use student, this, see, green tick, that means this is perfectly executed. And see, under students, there see there is table, there is views, there is stored procedure, there is function, this kind of thing. So we will use that student database. Okay, so basically just simply English grammar. You have to create a database, just write create database. You have to use that database, so you have to write use. Like, it's very easy. Okay, now, and one more thing, SQL is not case sensitive. Like if we use write the use word as in capital, so it's mean the same if we use the in small letter. Okay, so it's not overall case sensitive, mind it. Okay, now let's go to the one by one command. So there is create command first, right? So how can we create table? You know the syntax is you example. So suppose let's copy it. So there is little time save, we can save our time. So this is create table employee, this kind of thing. Now just run it, see, and there is, we created the table. And how can you make sure that yes, the table is created? First of all, you have to see that action output. Yes, there is a green tick, so that means our this code is perfectly executed. And second thing, see, there is table, and if you click the table, just refresh it, and if you click the table, there is employees. So that means our employees table is already created there, right? So that's how you can use your MySQL Workbench. Okay, so make sure that you will this. And there is also various server. Okay, but MySQL is most uses, most people use MySQL Workbench. So I personally suggest that go for MySQL Workbench and create your SQL query first. Okay, then go for that alter command, right? Now there is alter command also. So alter table employees, add department, this kind of. Okay, so let's copy and paste. So alter table employees. Now see, basically we add department also. Suppose, okay, before that, just see, there is employees, there is columns. Now in column there is employee ID, name, age and salary, which we mention in the create table, right? Name, then employee ID, then age and then salary, right? There is no column named as department. See very carefully. But whenever we execute this command, like select, then execute, okay, this executed, and then refresh it. See, there is a department column. Okay, so that means we modify our table, right? So we employees table, okay, there is an employee table and we created the table. There is employee ID, name, age, salary, but there's no column named department, but we add the department column, right? So how interesting it is, right? Now let's see alter command also use for, see, it's not case sensitive. Let me give you a proof. So I read it in small letter. Okay, so employees, then here we want to drop, right? Okay, we don't no more that department column we need. So drop column, just simply that column name is department, so let us department, and this. Now select and execute. Okay, green tick, that is executed, affected records. Now simply again refresh. See, there is no more department column, right? So that's how you can modify column using alter. ठीक. So and also see, there is no more case sensitive, because here we write alter table in capital letter and here we write the alter table in small letter. But फर्क ही नहीं पड़ा, right? So you can use it. Let's go to the another command, drop command. So what is the drop command? Now when you no longer need a table or any database object, you can use the drop command. However, be careful, it deletes the table and all its data permanently. Like if you drop the table and table name, the table we created, that's employees table, and it dropped whole table, right? So before removing the table, let's go for another command, that is truncated. Now what is truncate command, right? So basically the truncate command, it's if you want to quickly remove all the data. What is the purpose? So if you quickly remove all the data from a table but keep like the structure for future use, like you want to remove rows, like there is record in the table and you want to remove the rows, like my name is Vidisha, my ID is 1 and my age is like 22 and then my salary is something. So we want to remove that record by, but we want that no, the table is intact, like the table structure, there's a table like employees, there is table, in the table there is employee ID, salary, name, this kind of thing. Then we use the truncate command, right? Now lastly, so this is the syntax, that truncate table, table name, and example truncate table employees. Now lastly there is a rename column, right? So rename column, what is the purpose? As the name suggests, that it's remain an existing table or object. Like what is the syntax? So it's rename table and table name to new table name. Like you, if you give that table name employees to staff, so how can you rename that table name? Using the rename command. Okay, now there is constraint. So constant, first constant is primary key. As you notice that there in the create table there is a name, like beside the employee ID there is employee ID, then integer, then primary key, right? Now what is primary key? So basically primary key is nothing but that uniquely identifies each record. पता है सबको ऐसे कॉलेज में रोल नंबर होते हैं, राइट? और इनरोलमेंट नंबर होते हैं. क्यों होते हैं? क्योंकि तुमको वो यूनिकली आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं, राइट? बेसिकली देयर इज लाइक एक यूनिवर्सिटी में दो नेम तो सेम रहता ही है ना. सपोज देयर इज टू नेम शुभम नाम का कोई लड़का दो है योर क्लास में, ठीक है? बट अगर दो है तो तुम कैसे उसको आइडेंटिफाई करोगे, राइट? और जब कॉपीज चेक करने के टाइम, रिजल्ट आने के टाइम कैसे तुम आइडेंटिफाई करोगे? तो कुछ ना होना चाहिए ना जो यूनिक हो सबका. So that's why we use roll number, right? And if you see that they have different roll number. अगर दो लड़का है लेकिन दो लड़का का रोल नंबर डिफरेंट होगा in the class, right? So that's a unique identifier for themselves कि yes this शुभम का रोल नंबर like something 30 का आसपास कुछ है, 30 है, और दूसरा शुभम जिसका है उसका रोल नंबर 31 है. So that's our identity. How can you uniquely identify this kind of thing, right? So that's what primary key does. Here also in SQL, in employees table, so there is various name of employee, and ऐसा तो नहीं है कि दोनों एम्प्लॉय का नाम सेम नहीं हो सकता. तो अगर दोनों एम्प्लॉय का नाम सेम हो भी जाए लेकिन उन लोगों का जो एम्प्लॉय आईडी होगा ना वो डिफरेंट होगा. So that's why we retain the employee ID beside the employee ID, that it's primary key. And जो यूनिक होगा ना उसके पास हम लोगों को ये प्राइमरी की लिखना होगा. तुमको वो एसक्यूएल को बताना होगा इन कमेंट में कि हाँ दिस जो कॉलम है ये यूनिक है, दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग, राइट? नाउ what is this? There is a foreign key also. So foreign key, what is the foreign key? So it maintains referential integrity between tables. What can it means? Basically it maintains relationship between table. Suppose you have two table, right? One is like employee and one is employee salary. This two table you have, okay? So and first table, in employee table there is suppose there is columns like employee ID है, उसका name है, उसका age है, then उसका designation है, ठीक है, and date of joining है कि किस date पे the person has joined in the company, this kind of thing. एंड डिफरेंट एक टेबल पे है क्या कि उसका सैलरी क्या है, डिफरेंट एम्प्लॉय का सैलरी क्या है, द सैलरी ऑफ ईच एम्प्लॉय, राइट? सो हाउ कैन, if you want to know a salary of a particular employee, how can you get that? So that maintains the relationship between foreign key. Basically in the two table there is a employee table and there is a employee salary table, right? So this दो टेबल में हम लोग क्या करेंगे, दोनों में employee ID डाल देंगे and employee ID is create a breach between that two table, employee ID and employees table and employee salary table के बीच में, okay? So how can you get that? Suppose my name is Vidisha and my employee ID is 1, okay? Now employee salary table में भी employee ID column है एंड सैलरी समथिंग लाइक 50K काइंड है, ठीक है? तो हम लोग क्या चेक करेंगे कि ओके एम्प्लॉय आईडी, एम्प्लॉयज टेबल में देखेंगे कि फर्स्ट आईडी इज विदिशा एंड देन एम्प्लॉयज सैलरी टेबल में देखेंगे हम लोग कि आईडी 1 का सैलरी कितना है. तो आईडी 1 का सैलरी अगर 50K है दैट मीन्स विदिशा का सैलरी 50K है. दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग फॉरेन की डज, राइट? नाउ गो फॉर यूनिक. So this ensure all values in a column are distinct. Basically what unique it never allow the duplicate entries. If you तुम एक ही तरह का दोनों डाल दो ना तो it never allow. If you write beside a column name like the employee ID column name is unique, so if you get that put the employee ID 2 times 1, so it doesn't allow the duplicate values, right? Duplicate entries. Now not null. देखो अगर प्राइमरी की हो एम्प्लॉय आईडी, सो एम्प्लॉय आईडी हम ये नहीं कर सकते कि उधर नल वैल्यू रख दे, क्योंकि एम्प्लॉय आईडी सबको होना ही चाहिए. जैसे रोल नंबर, ऐसे किसी को होता है कि क्लास में किसका रोल नंबर ही है नहीं, ऐसा तो नहीं होता ना, क्योंकि रोल नंबर इज यूनिक आइडेंटिफायर, ओके? सो तब हम लोग क्या करते हैं, प्राइमरी की के पास जैसे हम लोग क्रिएट टेबल में लिखे थे ना कि एम्प्लॉय आईडी इंटीजर देन नॉट नल भी लिख देंगे हम लोग प्राइमरी की के साथ साथ. देन क्या होगा, जब हम लोग इंसर्ट करेंगे any values in the table, then it prevents the null value. If you put any kind of null value in the table, then it doesn't allow, it prevents the null value. It shows a error, it throws a error that no, this can't be null, this column can't be null, okay? This kind of thing. And then check. So basically this if you have meet any specific condition, then you go for the check, okay? Now practice exercises. Okay, before that go for some workbench, and also that comment we left out, which is drop, rename and truncate. Okay, now drop we take it at the last. So rename column. So basically here's the column name is employees, so we take that column name, which is column table, rename table. So basically our table name is employees, so we write it as employees. Okay, and rename the column employees as to staff, right? So to staff, select, execute, see execute. Now there is it, see there is employees, right? Now if you refresh, this is staff, and see the columns are intact. Okay, columns name same here, employee ID, then name, then age, salary, just same as before, right? But the name of the table now is no more employees, it's now renamed to staff, right? So this, now there is also truncate. So there is truncate table. Now how can you use the truncate command? Then truncate table, and table name is, अभी staff हो गया तो staff लिखना पड़ेगा, right? Staff. ना यू अभी ये तुमको नहीं मिलेगा देखने को, क्योंकि हम लोग अभी कॉलम सिर्फ जस्ट क्रिएट किए हैं, हम लोग टेबल अभी क्रिएट किए हैं, टेबल के अंदर कुछ है नहीं हम लोगों के पास, हम लोगों के पास ना तो कोई नेम है ना तो कोई एज है, तो उसके लिए हम लोगों को इंसर्ट करना पड़ेगा. ओके, एंड ऑल्सो ड्रॉप, देयर इज ऑल्सो अ कॉमन इज ड्रॉप, राइट? So this drop table I can show you, drop table, and table name is staff, and look at that, just select, execute, and see स्टूडेंट के अंदर जो टेबल के अंदर जो स्टाफ था और वो नहीं है अभी, राइट? So there is no more table in student. So that's how we remove, drop the table totally. And for truncate you have to first insert the value, like अभी रन तो हो जाएगा, लेकिन क्या होगा ना, अभी देखो हम लोग स्टाफ को हटा दिए, ठीक है? सो अभी अगर एग्जीक्यूट करें तो ये इट थ्रोस अ एरर, सी टेबल स्टूडेंट डॉट स्टाफ डज नॉट एग्जिस्ट, राइट? बिकॉज अभी स्टाफ तो है ही नहीं, तो ट्रंकेट कैसे करें? तो दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग अभी हम लोगों को पहले से फिर से हम लोगों को क्रिएट करना पड़ेगा टेबल, फिर उसमें डालना पड़ेगा हम लोगों को कॉलम नेम, फिर हम लोग वो ट्रंकेट कर पाएंगे ऐसे. एंड ट्रंकेट के लिए हम लोगों को वैल्यूज चाहिए, हम लोग बाद में वो इंसर्ट करना पड़ता है, एंड कैसे करना पड़ता है इसके लिए आप लोगों को नेक्स्ट वीडियो देखना पड़ेगा. सो let's give you some practice exercise. Okay, so just create a sample table, like I create a table called employees and create a database like student. So just on your choice create a sample table and then add a new column to the table as on your choice. Okay, and then rename the table name on your choice also. Just suppose for an example you created a table university, and in add a new column, like as I written a department, you just on your choice add a new column and then rename the table name, that university to another kind of thing, college or maybe, and then drop the table. Okay, just I show you the drop table, then table name, and check it exists or not in the database. So how can you check that? जस्ट नॉर्मल जैसे हम लोग अभी, ओके लेट मी शो यू हाउ कैन यू शो दैट. बेसिकली इफ यू यूज स्टूडेंट, हियर इज स्टूडेंट, सो टेबल्स, अभी सो टेबल्स, इफ वी सिलेक्ट एंड रन, so there is tables in student, there is no table there. Okay, so that means it dropped the table employees. ओके, सो दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग हम लोग पहले से अगर क्रिएट करें फिर से रन करें. ओके, क्रिएट हो गया, अभी सो टेबल करो, देखो इधर एम्प्लॉइज आ गया, राइट? सो बेसिकली दैट्स हाउ यू चेक दैट योर टेबल आर एग्जैक्टली ड्रॉप और नॉट, राइट, and exist or not. So that's how you can tackle this exercise problem. Okay, then So this is the practical exercise. Just take a screenshot of it, okay, or not in the database, and do it by yourself, okay. Feel free to leave your questions in the comment section, and let's build data skills together. Let's be flawless. Thank you.